All right, everyone. So we reported on the change for Raw going from the 3 hours to the 2 hours until December 25th and starting in October. But Russell Votes gave us another report, so we're going to read it. This is what they tweeted. Regarding the news of Raw switching to 2 hours for the rest of the year, I've heard that many production and social staff who work behind the scenes found out in real time, just like the rest of us. As for what this means for 2025 and Netflix, one source said WWE is eagerly anticipating the freedom to vary run times as needed. No firm decision has been made either way. This is, if you're a wrestling fan, if you're a wrestling fan in any way, this is such good news because the problem is that when you're stuck in this time slot of 2 hours, right? Well, part of the problem and the reason they went to three is that okay, we have all this talent we want to get on TV. Raw is going to be the big draw. So even if you started another show, that show may not reach the heights of Raw. And there are two shows, obviously Raw, SmackDown, and then the third is NXT. But the point is, you can't just make infinite shows because there's a chance that those shows don't draw what Raw draws. And so you have those 2 hours, so you expand it to three to get everybody that you want on TV onto TV. But then the problem becomes, well, just because you had a few weeks or a few months or a few years of wanting to fill out 3 hours of TV on Monday, that doesn't mean going forward that you're always going to want to have to do 3 hours. You'd like to do two. And then what happens is if you're stuck in that 3 hour spot, well, now you're putting in stuff that is boring. You're putting in stuff that maybe is not your best. And people are watching that going, okay, well, I'm turning this off. I don't want to see this. So it's really a no win situation, right? Because especially with something like wrestling, it's tough to say if two, three, what is the best hour amount. I actually prefer the shorter just because, it's like, especially Mondays during football season, you're trying to watch everything. And, I kind of like digesting the really good 2 hours of Raw versus having 3 hours. And some of the stuff maybe just drags a little bit or having filler matches within. But the best news about this is that with this, now they could just say, okay, today's a show that we could do 2 hours. Today's a show we do 2.5 hours. Today's a show we do 3 hours. Like you could now vary it and you don't have to have those filler matches. And you could still get people on TV, right? You could still get people watching as they should. And you could just cut out the garbage. Really, you could just cut out the garbage. And I don't mean like, oh, this wrestler, he shouldn't be on TV. That's the problem. That's not what we're talking about, right? I think all of these wrestlers deserve some semblance of shine and should get their shot, even if we don't know if it's going to be good or bad. You should still get your shot to show it, right? That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when you have like, okay, we have 3 hours of show. We don't need to get this wrestler on TV, but we only have 2 hours worth of show, scheduled. So we need to make up an hour. So we're just going to throw together a match based off like a half baked storyline, and then we're going to have that match. That's more of what I'm talking about. Is just the match is not where you're trying out a new wrestler or trying to see if this wrestler can get over, but one where you have a wrestler that's already over, but you're just trying to fill time. So you put him into a rivalry that doesn't really make sense or is just not that great. And then we have to watch that match, and you get what I'm saying, or have a segment that isn't like 100% the best. And it's just, I think this is the best way to go about it. So I'm so excited to see this. So thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.